I turned a one sentence idea into a comprehensive professional course in under 2 minutes. No manual outlining, no manual scripting, and zero manual design. This is an automation agentic pipeline. I have engineered a system that moves a raw concept through a high level decision making chain to produce a production ready output autonomously. Hey, I am Vijay Saini, Solution Architect, Generative AI Manager, and Microsoft Certified Trainer. Today I am showing you how agentic logic solves complex production problems at scale.
Think about it. You have a great idea for a new course, or maybe a YouTube playlist, or an online course which you are excited to launch. The spark is there, the passion is there, but then the headache begins. How do I break this into sections? How do I structure the lectures? What should the table of contents look like? How long should each lecture be? And even after that, the grind only gets heavier. Writing scripts, designing slides, finding the right visual, polishing everything until it feels professional. It's exhausting, isn't it? I have struggled with this a lot, and I believe it's not just me. There are many people out there who wants to create something of their own, but they get stuck with this initial production process itself. And that's exactly why I built something very close to my heart, a powerful N8N workflow that automates this entire journey from idea to production ready course. Yes, imagine this. You take that single spark of an idea and within minutes it becomes a fully structured course with scripts, slides, and even graphics. Sounds magical, isn't it? Yes? I'm just super excited to show you this. You just tell the workflow, this is the topic I want to teach. And that's it. The workflow then generates a complete beautiful table of contents with sections, lecture titles, keywords, and even a recommended lecture length that feels just right. And good thing is, it doesn't just assume you will accept it. Oh no, it actually emails you. Do you like this structure or would you like to tweak it? Because I know creators love that freedom to adjust. Once you approve, the magic unfolds. For every lecture, it generates a full script written in your style with hooks, humor, and conclusions baked in. So it's not boring, bookies, and random script generated by LLM. Instead, it will generate engaging, ready to deliver content in your style. Now comes my favorite part. After approval, the workflow uses Gamma AI to create professional slides for every lecture. Clean, modern, and perfectly aligned with your content. And on top of that, it even generates AI graphics that gives your slide personality. So they don't just inform, they inspire. And this way, within minutes, that small idea you shared has transformed into a complete course kit with structured table of contents, engaging lecture scripts, professional slides, and beautiful graphics. Something that normally takes weeks or even months is suddenly ready for you in no time. I can't tell you how proud I am of this project because I know it will help creators everywhere, teachers, trainers, YouTubers, and anyone with knowledge to share but who doesn't want to drawn into production work. This, my friends, is the power of automation, and this is why I'm simply in love with this N8N workflow. I'm sure you are equally excited as me to build this workflow together. Let's do it. Alright, I'm in my N8N workflow instance. I am using self-hosted instance of N8N workflow on Hostinger. Let's create a new workflow. Let's name it as idea to course. Right now I am happy to use this chat based trigger, which allows me to send this message whenever I want to trigger the workflow. Yes, it's time to test the workflow now. So through this message, we need to give our idea to the workflow, HTML and CSS for absolute beginners, let's say. So this is my idea around which I want to create some course. And immediately workflow got triggered. So trigger condition is working fine at least. So let's add an AI agent for generating the table of content as per our requirements now. So I'll say connected chat trigger should become defined below. And I want to define my prompt here. Use ChatGPT for generating this prompt as per my requirement. So I just told it I want these columns and then explain what each column header means. Then I ask to return a JSON array in this format, and that's all. Okay. As you can see, I have given it a preference that I do not want any lecture to be generated of lesser than 5 minutes duration and not greater than 12 minutes. By giving this, I have confined boundary for LLM to understand how many lectures it would generate for each topic, because otherwise it can think that okay, I'm comfortable with 35 minutes of a lecture, so it might just create 3 lectures, which is not my style. So it's important to specify all your preferences. This isn't magical. LLM will do what you want it to do, right? So make sure you give your preferences. This topic we want to replace, so I'll just delete this and give our actual topic, which is nothing but this chat input. Yes, so our topic will be sent to the LLM while requesting the content creation in this format. Let me go back and click on chat model. We need to add a chat model. So I'll say OpenAI chat model. I have already added my OpenAI credentials. In case you have not, you can just go to create new credentials and add your OpenAI key over here and just save it. Okay, it will be done. I'm fine with using the old connection. In this list of models, you can select the model that you like. I know GPT-5 is already launched, but for this use case, GPT-4.1 mini is tried and tested and it is doing a nice work for me. So I'll continue with this. Okay, go back. Now you might be wondering, there is no use case of AI agent here. It could be a simple LLM call. But thing is, in future, we might want to extend this requirement by adding some tools. You might want to do some perplexity research before coming up with certain topic. And you might want to add some tool for SEO or search engine optimization for the table of contents that this LLM is going to generate, right? So it's possible to extend the requirement. That is the reason instead of a simple OpenAI call, I want to add an AI agent. In case you are wondering, this call I am talking about, where you can go to OpenAI and directly message a model instead of using an agent. Okay, so we are preferring AI agent over this OpenAI call to keep it open for future extensions. Okay, I'll go to AI agent and name it appropriately, which is in our case table of contents generator. Sounds good? Yes. It's time to execute this AI agent. Let me hit this button. We are waiting for its execution to see the table of contents. And there we go. It has generated an output where we have, serial number, then section number, lecture, started with HTML. This is lecture section title, then lecture title. It has got key points, length in minutes, pretty much everything is there. It's just that right now this text doesn't look very readable. So we need to put some additional effort to clean this text generated by LLM to put it in a certain way, right? For this, let me add another node called code. Let's create a variable called constant. First of all, let's get the raw string from AI agent output. So I'll say constant raw equals to, drag and drop this output. And then let's parse this raw text into proper JS array. So for this, let's say const add equals to JSON dot parse and pass this raw string. Okay. And in the end, convert each object into an array into a separate n8n item. Okay. Now, if you are little bit familiar with JavaScript, it's not very tough to understand this code. But in case you are not aware, it's perfectly fine. Just write it as is. Okay. Let's execute the step. All it is doing is converting this output, which is barely readable, into this nice table of arrays, which has got a proper structure, right? The output is an array of 11 items and each item contains these entities. While this output looks great, the problem is it is not persistent. Means outside of this n8n workflow, it doesn't have any significance. It is short living within this n8n workflow, and once the workflow ends, this output cannot be used. This is a problem because what we want is save this output because this is important for our content creation journey. For this reason, let me go to Google Drive. I am in this directory, idea to course. I'll create a new Google Sheet. Now we need to create the table headers. We should keep these columns same as how we asked LLM to generate these columns for us. So as you can see, I have added these columns over here. Sounds good. Go back to n8n workflow. And now, as we know, this output is nothing but a collection of arrays, right? So there are multiple entities within this. And for this reason, whenever we have to process a collection of entities one by one, we need loop. So let me go add here a loop. I'll keep batch size as 1. This is fine. This replace me is by default, which we want to replace with Google Sheet. Google Sheets. And what we want to do is append or update row in Sheets, right? I have already added my Google Sheet account. Operation is append or update. From document, I'll select my idea to course document, and sheet will be table of contents which we just created, right? Map each columns manually. We want to match based on serial number. Since I have not executed previous nodes, there is nothing to drag and drop. So let me do it like this. Remove this replace me. Go here and execute previous nodes. Yep. Here we go. Now we want to drag and drop each item from this. So serial number here, then the section number, lecture number, section title, points, length in minutes. There we go. Let me go back and run this flow from beginning one more time. Okay. So our Google Sheet is empty at the moment. I'll go here and say earlier we said HTML and CSS. Okay, let's repeat the same message, HTML and CSS for absolute beginners. So we got 9 items and then we looped over those items, and one after another those items are processed by appending those rows into the Google Sheet, which we defined over here, right? Let's go to our Google spreadsheet, and there we go. You can see serial number serves as unique identity for each lecture. Then we have section number, which is repeated because one section can have more than one item. Then there is this lecture number, which is unique within each section, right? Here's the section title, lecture title, and as we specified, no lecture is lesser than 5 minutes and greater than 12 minutes in length. Okay. Let's make the header row darker. Sounds good. And there we go, my friends. This is table of contents generated for us by our AI agent based on our requirement, which was HTML and CSS for absolute beginners. So please feel free to look at this quality of table of contents created by AI agent for us. If you feel it's not good at all, you might want to play around with this prompt that we have given over here. You can make it more fine-tuned, maybe play around with different models, add more specifications within your prompt and make it good, because this serves as a starting point for us. So please fine-tune if needed, because it is important for our downstream tasks that this source of truth is in good shape. This looks good to me, by the way. Okay. Moving to next important segment in this workflow. As agreed, whenever this table of contents is generated by our AI agent, we want to send an email asking to review this sheet, right? So I'll take this done part of the loop and add a Gmail node. Okay. We want to send message and wait for response. So let me pick this. I've set up my Gmail account with Gmail permissions. Okay. So we want to perform this operation, send and wait for response. Let me pick my email ID. This is my email ID to which I want to send. We want to put a subject. So review the table of contents. This is the subject. Please review the table of contents generated by AI. If you want to add more features for the user, you can maybe add the link of this Google Sheet directly so that user can open the Google Sheet from there. So in the response, we want approval and add option. Approve only, I want to have approve and disapprove right now. And let's have everything else default. Let's execute this step. And we'll go to our Gmail to see if the email has come. There we go. We have got an email on our email box with the text exactly how we wanted. It wants us to review the table of contents. Let me approve this, and this got approved. Let me go back and you can see the output of this is approved. As we have given this choice to approve or decline, it makes sense to add condition on top of this send message node so that if the user approves the request, it goes into one flow, and if the user declines this table of content after review, we might want to handle it differently, right? So let me add switch node here. Whenever user sends this data as approved, this sign suggests it is a boolean value. So I'll just say boolean is true, right? Rename output approved. I want to see what the output will be when the user declines it. So I'll execute this one more time. Let's wait for the email which has come and let me decline it this time. Okay, it is completed and the output this time is approved as false. So I can create another condition based on this. Add routing rule. This boolean is false. Rename output as declined. Yes. Back to canvas and do this. So in case of decline, it will go to declined node, right? And in case of approved, it will go here. Now I want to leave it up to your creativity to handle this declined part. Maybe you want to send it back to AI agent again. Maybe you want to pass it through a different AI agent node, or you may choose to do nothing, right? It's purely up to you. It's your workflow. Yes. What we want to do in case of approved is read the table of contents and proceed with the next part, which is generating the lecture scripts. What I want to do is read this table of contents and for each lecture, based on these key points, generate the lecture script. Yes. So let me click this plus button and we want to read the Google Sheet again. Google Sheet. This time we do not want to append or update in rows. Instead we want to get the rows. Get rows. And what is the operation we are doing? We are getting the table of contents. Yep. So let me name it nicely. Sheet within document, get rows. A document name is idea to course and sheet is table of contents. No more filters, nothing I want to do. Let me execute this. Oh, it's in declined, right? So I have to approve it again. Let me send this email and approve it so that when I execute the switch node again, it goes to approved, and with this I can run this. I am able to read the Google Sheet and there are exactly 9 items over here. Next, what we want to add here is a loop to process all these 9 items one after another and generate the lecture script content. So let me add loop. I've already explained this, so I'll be little fast. Yes, loop. This replace me is meant for replacing, so let me simply delete this. And what we want instead here is another AI agent. Add your account and select your model. Go back. Go to AI agent. We do not want connected chat trigger. Instead we want to define our prompt. And our prompt will be add a system message as well. And in this I'll put this way. Now I will tell you how I created this prompt. I've created lectures in the past. I picked 5 lectures from different timelines in the past and downloaded their transcript. How to get this transcript? Well, my editing software itself generates a transcript. I can use that, or you can download it from YouTube also. There are multiple websites which makes the transcript of your YouTube videos available. Okay. Then I uploaded those scripts to ChatGPT and I asked it to create a prompt to be able to generate lecture scripts in the same style. Okay. So ChatGPT read those scripts and understood my style of teaching and accordingly added those instructions. So you can clearly see it has identified my style and added the content in this certain way where there is a hook, concept introduction. If you have seen my past videos, this is typically my style of teaching, right? So let me get rid of this C19. It's supposed to be the course number, but this is not important. Let me get rid of this entirely. Section and lecture is enough. So like this, we can ask ChatGPT to create prompt for us for generating new content in our style. Now, I'm satisfied with this prompt up to an extent, but surely I understand this is an area of improvement. What next we can do is maybe implement RAG, where maybe AI agent can retrieve some of the scripts we have created in the past, learn from them and then generate new scripts. It might be a good idea to add few shorts prompting here where we can give for this particular lecture title, this is my script. So like this we can give a few examples to our LLM so that it knows our style better. You can even go for the fine tuning of model where you actually shifts the weights of the LLM model to help it in generating the content in your style. So this is totally up to us, up to what extent we want to give, and we can surely be more creative than this. Okay. Now it's time to add a user prompt. So let me add this again. Previously created this. There is nothing to drag and drop, so let me execute this so that I get one item and I can drag and drop here. So it big section number goes here, then the lecture, okay, section, okay, so it might not be interested in the section title at all, right? So I'll just give it section title then the lecture, then the lecture title, what is module? Nothing. Key points I want to give is this, and lecture length in minutes is this over here. Okay, this sounds good. So reason why I have not given it serial number, section number, lecture number, etc. Because these are purely to help us in managing our content. But for the LLM, it hardly matters if it is creating lecture 1 or lecture 100. All it cares about is the key points that we have given, the title, etc. Okay, these some basic instructions and that's it. Let me go back. Once the AI agent creates a lecture script, just like we did to table of contents, we also want to save the scripts generated by our AI agent. So I'll just add a tool and call Google Sheet again and use Google Sheet tool, append or update rows. Let me create the sheet also. And I'll add first row, lecture number, lecture title and script. Save this. Idea to course. This time we want to select lecture scripts. I'm slightly quicker here because I know by now you have already become an expert of this. And let's click this magic button for each of these columns so that our AI agent can automatically fill these columns. Alright, it's time to run this workflow end to end, but before that I want to do some changes. So we named it as table of contents generator. This one I'll name as scripts generator. Okay, this is scripts generator agent, and if you want to rename few other items to make more sense out of it, that should be fine. Okay, alright, now it's time to test this workflow end to end. So I have cleaned this sheet as well as this table of contents, and now there is nothing inside this. Let's trigger this workflow. Okay, generate topics for this, hit enter. Okay, I think we need to save because I renamed this. So let's hit this again. It must be generating the table of contents. Then we will parse that raw text and append into the table of contents. Okay, it has sent the message to us. So let's see if the email has arrived. And yes, here it is. Let me approve so that the workflow can continue. And as we can see, now workflow is generating the scripts for us, as well as it will use this tool that we have given to it for adding those scripts to our Google Sheet. Yes, let's wait for its completion. If we take a look at this, in table of contents we have these lectures which seems suitable for introducing to beginners. Yes, and for corresponding to each lecture, now scripts generation is in progress, which is still going on, but as you can already review the quality, this is the lecture, this is section number underscore lecture number, then there is a suitable lecture title which is working with data types and operations. It is this. Okay, I think, okay, this seems to be fishy because it is overwriting the first row. This is definitely fishy. There is some issue. Let me take a look. Stop this. Okay, cancelling this workflow in between, and I was troubleshooting because what was happening, same one row was getting updated by every single lecture, and I was troubleshooting this and I deliberately removed section number and lecture number. So that has created problem over here, because what this is doing, it is trying to update the same lecture, and when it find S01, L01 every single time, it was keep on updating the same row every single time. So no, I was wrong. We need to give lecture number as well as the section number, so that it can create this combination, right? S01, L01 as a unique name for every new lecture, right? So we need to pass on this, and rest seems to be fine. By the way, there is a blessing in disguise. So yes, if your workflow is breaking in between and you want to trigger it from a particular place, you can do it this way. So I am executing manually. So in the interest of time, I'm using the table of contents that are created already, and I just want to go ahead with it. Okay, so execute workflow. It will read the table of contents and loop over this. Let's see if the scripts are generated correctly this time. Okay, introduction to Python is correctly created. I'll be satisfied if it creates the second lecture also correctly. And there we go. Yes, this time it has indeed created S01, L02 as second lecture from this table of content, Python basic syntax and variables, and it has generated lecture script along with the examples. How cool is that? So let's keep our AI agent busy while we review our first script generated by AI agent. And look at this. I'm sure you can appreciate it more in the notepad more than what it was looking like in this spreadsheet. So it has created your introduction to the lecture, introduced the concept, examples, and in the end it has even given a recap. This is amazing, isn't it? I think how I would like to put it is this serves as a launch pad which you can use to speed up the process of making another course. Yes? Okay. Our workflow is still in process. Few more lectures to go. Our script generator agent ran for 13 times and it has created all of our lecture scripts. Let me go there and see. Yes, it is in 14th row. First row is the table header. So yes, it has created 13 lectures for us, and the quality of lectures are here for your review. If you are satisfied, good, and if you are not, maybe try to enhance the prompt little bit, or use a different chat model that suffice your need. And yeah, we do not want to execute this manually, right? So let me delete this and let me attach this to approved part of my workflow. Congratulations on building a workflow that takes your ideas and turns them into well-structured table of contents, something you can review, fine-tune, and then expand into a detailed lecture scripts. This is a solid foundation for your content creation journey.
To transform these scripts into visuals, I am leveraging the Gamma app API, so our agent can generate presentations programmatically. I have a quick dedicated video on my channel if you want to explore the Gamma interface, but for this pipeline, we are going straight to the automation.
So this curl command is all that you need to understand in order to generate your presentations with a simple API call. Okay, this is your public endpoint. Here you need to give your Gamma API key around your content generation preferences. Pretty straightforward. Now I have further simplified this curl command for you. This is the API endpoint, this is the API key. Then instead of Gamma to generate my content, I have given the content myself. Okay, so this is the slide title, then content of it, then for new slide we have to give this, then next slide's content follows. So basically this input text contains the entire text of my presentation that can be distributed into multiple pages. I want to preserve the text mode. This is to control the creativity of AI. You might be wondering what is this theme name dark. So let me show you this. Okay, now let me take this curl statement and go to a shell where I can execute the curl commands. I'm using git bash. Okay, and as you can see, in response I have got a generation ID. This means our presentation must have been started getting created. Okay, So yes, created by you some 11 seconds ago. Let me refresh this if this is the one. And look at this. Global warming crisis and earth temperature rising 1.1 degrees Celsius. Next line, human activities causing warming. So Gamma is following the text that we have given. It has preserved the text. It is able to generate the graphics by its own, following the style that we have specified. How cool is that? Now let me switch back to the N8N workflow and try to hit this curl command from within N8N workflow. Okay. So for this, I'll use this HTTP request node. Click on this and I'll simply do this import curl command. I'll copy this completely and paste it over here and hit import. Amazing. It has automatically filled all this information into this HTTP request node and it's all done. How good it is. Let's try to execute this script, but before this I'll make a change. So I already have a Gamma with global warming crisis. I'll just add this presentation title to create a distinguish and execute this step. Okay, I've got the generation ID. So I'm assuming Gamma app has already started working on my request. Let's go back. And there we go. Congratulations. We are successfully able to create a presentation in Gamma app by executing our node in N8N workflow. How cool it is. Now here is a thought. See, we are able to create a presentation on global warming. That's fine. But this endpoint doesn't change often. Here's the key. All we are left with is this JSON. If we can play around with this JSON, can we create presentation on any topic of our choice with our own custom text and defined theme? I think yes. Why not? Right? Seems very straightforward. Well, that's exactly what we are going to. What is the new thing that we have learned is that using a HTTP request node in N8N workflow, we can integrate with Gamma app to generate beautiful looking presentation by providing our own custom text. That's interesting. Now, can we not combine these two together? We can generate this input text in this format from our scripts. Yes, it should be straightforward. And maybe just change the title of this presentation and we should be good. So the plan is for each of the scripts generated by script generator agent, it should go ahead and create the presentation for it as well. Does that sound like a plan? Let's do it. Okay, so leaving other nodes aside, let's focus on this presentation generation part. So we have got our scripts inside this spreadsheet. So let's read it. For reading the spreadsheet, Google Sheets. And what we want to do, get rows in sheet. Okay, this is our document name and inside this we are interested in the lecture scripts. You are already familiar with this. Good. Now we are dealing with multiple scripts. Wherever there are more than one entities and we want to process each entity one by one, we need a loop. You can remember this as a rule of thumb. Okay. So let me add a loop over items. Yes, we want to do this. Batch size remains 1. Replace me is of no use for us. I'll just get rid of this and add an AI agent. Why we are adding AI agent? Well, its simple motive is to convert this script into the text that Gamma app is comfortable with. Yes. It's time to add prompt in our AI agent. So I'll just use this. Instead of connected chat trigger, we will define the prompt. So this is our prompt for converting a lecture script into the text that we can feed to Gamma app and generate our presentation. Yes. We have asked it to add new line characters like this, and before going to the next slide, it has to add this. So this way, not just that it will read our lecture scripts and summarize into clear, concise bullet points, something that we create presentations for. which is a basic requirement for any presentation, but also it will return text into this format, which is required in order to feed it to Gamma app. Sounds very good. Let me cancel this. Oh, I have not added a model yet. Let me add OpenAI chat model. We'll go ahead with 41 mini. Let me execute it now. In order to work with this presentation generation part itself, let me add a manual trigger so that I can simply work with this much. Right? Let me execute it now. Okay, it seems to be doing its job. We had 13 scripts in our Google Sheet and it has looped over each item and converted the script that we have given here, by the way. Okay, this is the lecture title, this is the lecture script which we are reading from Google Sheet and putting it over here, and this way it is successfully added to AI agent message, and then we receive this output. It's exactly the kind of formatting we expected. This output is in the text that Gamma expects it to be in, right? In case you are wondering from where this extra slash has come in, it is basically an escape character. We ourselves added it to the prompt to escape the new line character. Okay, so don't get surprised here. So now we have the text that we can give to our HTTP request and get our job done, which is in our case generating the presentation. So let me add it to HTTP request, and instead of returning from AI agent itself, it should go from here to here, right? And I can delete this one. Okay, this sounds better. Go inside HTTP request, expand this. No, choose expression, maximize it. Now what we want to remove? We want to remove this part, right? This is the text for global warming. What we want is our own script. So I'll drag and drop output into this. We do not want our Python lectures to be named as global warming. So let's remove this part. And where is lecture title available over here? Let me show. Here is the lecture title, right? So I can just drag and drop this over here. This is good. And if we are not satisfied with just this lecture title, we might also want lecture number, right? To understand in what order our slides are getting created. I might want to put it in the beginning. So I'll just say lecture number also we want to add in the slide. And this is perfect now. Some spacing, and yes, and this loop over items to what it is, man. This is not good. Let's rename this. So instead of naming it as loop over items, I'll say loop over scripts. What is item? Loop over scripts. This is good. Whenever we rename a node, don't worry, n8n automatically updates its value. Okay, so it has become loop over scripts. Okay, this is good. We have pretty much done everything. In the HTTP request, I want to do one thing. See, we are converting this text into this specific format. Our AI agent can sometimes generate an output that is not acceptable by Gamma app. It's possible, right? So in that case, what do you want to do? Do you want to stop the workflow immediately? No, I do not want to do that. Instead, I want to proceed with the next item, right? So I'll say continue. Now one more precaution we want to take. If we send multiple requests to this API simultaneously, there are chances of rate limiting error. This workflow is already doing so much for us. I don't mind waiting for some additional time, right? So I'll just add 5 or maybe 10 seconds of wait time in between. That sounds good. Okay. And this sounds so good. I'll just delete this manual workflow execution node and let me place it slightly in this side. And what we can do is attach to done so that it looks like this. Okay. Okay, loop over items I should rename to loop over TOC or table of contents. I always forget to rename these nodes. Please don't be like me. So let me present AI agent. I'll name this as PPT prompt generator, and this HTTP request should become okay. So hey guys, so as you can see, I tried to run this workflow a few times and I observed a few issues. So I just want to talk about them, and instead of wasting your time by showing a run with errors, I'll show you a flawless run only. Okay. So here we do not have anything in between of this loop, right? So there is loop inside loop, and for this reason it becomes 121 items over here. Means it will try to create 121 presentations, which is not acceptable for us, right? So this 11 into 11 items becoming 120 items is an issue, and we need to fix it this way. So in order to fix this issue, all we need to do is go here, click on this plus button, add code node, and inside this just add this line. Okay. So this will basically reduce the harmful effects of a loop inside the loop. That's all I can say about it. Okay. And now our workflow is all set to be tested again. So basically we will give an idea, it will generate the topics. From those topics it will send an email, and we will be required to approve or reject. Based on our approval, it will go ahead and generate the scripts. Okay, and save them to our Google Sheet again. And from here it will go ahead and create the Gamma presentation for each of the lecture. That's the workflow is all about. Yes. Now it's time to execute. So let me first clean up these scripts and topics. There is no issue as such. If you don't do this cleanup, it will be overwritten. But I want a clean run. Okay. Any presentation that I might have created? No, this is fine. There is nothing recently generated. So we are all set. Intro to Gen AI for absolute beginners. This is the idea. And let's hit enter and see the magic. Okay, so it is trying to create the table of contents, parse the topics, and now adding those topics to our table of contents. It has sent email to us and waiting for our review. Before reviewing this content, I want to do something. I do not want too many lectures. Let's say I just want to keep it 5 lectures, for 4 lectures length only, because it's for absolute beginners. I just want it. So there is power in my hands to accept or reject it. So I'm just doing it like this. Some changes on the length, maybe 8 minutes. This is the ideal length for my lectures. I'm fine, and this looks good to me now. Okay, and once we are done, we can click on this approve button and let the magic unfolds. So it has gone to scripts. So now our scripts are getting generated. They should be added over here. First lecture is generated. Okay, our workflow is executed successfully. Let's go to Gamma and see whether our presentations are ready or no. And look at this. What magic has happened in last 2 minutes? All our presentations are ready. Look at the quality. Wow, I'm super proud of this. What we are seeing right now in front of our eyes is no less than magic. These are professional presentations with nicely generated graphics. What more can we ask for? You see, if you are just giving an idea and as a result you are getting these presentations along with the scripts, wouldn't it solve a lot of problems for the content creators? Well, I believe you agree with me totally on this. Well, I am in so much awe of this workflow. I can keep on bragging about it, but let me stop here and go back to this editor. Okay, here is little beautification I have done. Alright my dear friends, it's time to conclude the lecture. This workflow is doing tremendous work. I believe you agree with me on this. So I would say even sky is not the limit if you are a creative person and want to keep on improvising the things to make everybody's life easy.